Welcome to another episode of It Ain't Easy Being Human. I'm Ed Green. Stick around to the end for an exciting announcement. Have you ever seen or heard about somebody doing something you've never done before and said, I can do that? Like, I can jump that far. I can hold my breath that long. Or what about applying for a job you've never done before? You read the qualifications, the requirements, and think, I can do that. Maybe you decide to take on a project you've never done before. I should write a book. I should start a business. I should do a podcast. I can do that. Then reality shows up and hits you like you stole something. I discovered doing the podcast isn't nearly as easy as it looked. I could see the steps, the instructions, watch videos, the equipment I needed. But what I actually saw was an obstacle course. Hurdles to jump over, hoops to jump through, and some of them set on fire. And before long, I'm saying, why does this have to be so hard? Have you been there? If so, welcome to the world of illusions. That's why it ain't easy being human. And if you think it's supposed to be, it's a trap. And we've all fell for them. Sometimes it's something small. You're late for work because you can't find your car keys. You know, the ones you put in a special place so you knew exactly where to find them. Or maybe it's something a little more serious, like leaving the toilet seat up again. Or maybe you've been putting off that project because it isn't the right time, the right place, you can't afford it. Or maybe all these. Whatever it is that's stopping your forward progress, there's a good chance you fell into one of those traps we talked about last time. And if it's just one trap, you're lucky. From what I can tell, it's usually more like falling onto the floor in a room full of mouse traps. One goes off, then another, and suddenly they're all snapping at once, and you get caught in at least a couple of them. Here's the point. When our human and spiritual nature fall out of balance, we become vulnerable to traps, many times of our own making. These traps are not part of being human, but falling for them is. So the real choice often comes down to, what do I believe and what's real? Choose what's real and you move forward. Choose what you believe, and a lot of times you walk right into more traps. Stay there long enough, it becomes a prison. It becomes normal. Until something inside us finally cries out, do something about this. Everybody gets called, but few answer. Could that be what that means? Tell me what you think in the comments. The bottom line is, if you're stuck and you don't know where to go from here, I don't know, could be a trap. That's exactly what happened when I decided to start a podcast. That's when it hit me. I've been here before. This wasn't my first rodeo. It was a call for the 7-step formula, an escape plan I followed to navigate the traps that appeared at other challenging times in my life. And here I was, about to live those 7 steps again, and I was ready. So rather than simply explain the formula, I like to show you what it looks like, and I invite you to follow along. Think about something in your own life, a goal, a relationship, a decision, or maybe a dream you've been putting off. Anything that could improve the quality of your life. And as I tell you my escape and journey into podcasting, see if you can recognize your own story. Now, although the stories may be different, the escape plan may be more familiar than you think. Ready? Let's begin our escape together. Step 1. Identify the trap. Now remember, this trap is mostly about people, places, things, situations, and yes, choices. I wanted to do something I'd never done before. create a podcast. I'd watched podcasts, I listened to podcasts, and I honestly thought, how hard could it be? The biggest obstacle wasn't necessarily the project, because I saw the finished product and how it was supposed to go. That's the trap. I didn't know what I didn't know. And there I go again, being human. Because I didn't fully understand, I started filling in the blanks, jumping to conclusions, making assumptions. Sound familiar? Have you done that before? To identify your trap, ask yourself, what's really getting in the way? Step 2, identify and neutralize the guards. Now, who are the guards? Once I started looking, I found them everywhere. Technology, equipment, editing, content development, videotaping, getting everything onto social media. I could go on. And every time I thought, okay, I got it now, something else jumps out of the bushes and I go, of course. That eventually became my response. Of course. Because the trap was not knowing what I didn't know. So I gave up expectations of perfection. Accepting things that are gonna go wrong, guards neutralize. And that prepared me for the next step. This brought me to overtaking the warden, the next part of the escape plan. After his little minions failed to stop me with their fear-mongering little scare tactics, not a person, the source of that voice inside my head. What do you think you're doing? Nobody wants to hear that stuff. You won't get any views or any likes. You think you're going to get subscriptions and clients? Come on. You will fail. Sound familiar? The funny thing is, I knew that voice. It was the warden, the ego. It speaks the language of fear. That's the ego's domain. It was playing back old scenarios, old memories of conclusions from the past. Though different circumstances, here we go again. Those same tired old Jedi mind tricks, illusions, with its sleight of hand cryptic codes and funhouse mirrors. I recognize them. Different situation, same strategy. I didn't fall for it. I learned how to challenge this little voice in my head that wants to be me. It's like that one friend who gets you on the phone and talks and talks and talks. You could be talking to somebody standing right in front of you, and all you have to do is check in with your friend or with an occasional and they just keep going. When you hold the phone away, you can still hear them in the background still talking, but remains in the background. It's kind of like that. I still hear them in the background, but it has no power to influence my forward motion. But every time I completed a task, overcome an obstacle, finished another video, the voice got a little quieter. The warden doesn't lose because everything goes perfectly. The warden loses every time we challenge the story we're telling ourselves. And the illusion begins to fall apart. And you keep moving. That's the choice. And it ain't always an easy one. Stick around until the end, because I've got an announcement about what's coming. But first, something else showed itself. This project had grown far beyond what I could do by myself. That brings us to step 4. Step 4 is secure a getaway car. Reality really hit while I was working on the first couple of videos for the It's a Trap video series. The time involved, content development, videotaping, editing, getting everything onto different social media platforms. It was a lot. I finally had to come to terms with something. I couldn't do this alone. Now, if the podcast was going to become a reality, I needed help. Now that I've overtaken the warden and escaped the prison, I needed a getaway car for the next step of my escape plan. A relationship to help me get away. I needed technical support. And that's when I found Usman, a top-notch social media manager. Suddenly, the entire project wasn't just riding on my shoulders. Once I stopped trying to do everything alone, the podcast finally started becoming real. So let me ask you, who's your getaway car? Who helps move you towards your destination? Because you can never have enough getaway cars. You can be one of those getaway cars to help grow this podcast by showing your support with likes, comments, and subscriptions. Now I have something to share with you later about the 7-step formula escape plan. So if you made it this far, don't go away. Hang around to the end and find out more. Now that the getaway car was in place, I could move on to the next step in the escape plan. Mapping out the escape route. This is step 5. Now the ego may quiet down, but it doesn't go away. It sits there, waiting for another opportunity to ambush you. A setback, a distraction, a frustration, or in my case, trying to become a one-man production company. Now I could send you back through some of the earlier steps, and it did. This is what makes this the third hardest step. Every escape reaches a point where something has to be released. Because to move forward, you gotta leave what you think you are behind. Forgiveness is releasing whatever keeps us from moving towards the quality of life we want. When I looked honestly at my podcast journey, I realized I wasn't fighting the podcast, I was fighting my expectations, the illusions. I had to let those expectations go. I had to forgive myself for not already being the person I was still in the process of becoming. For a lot of people, this is really hard. It takes forgiving yourself first to begin clearing the road that leads to freedom. But here I am. I made it. This is where I am today, step 6. And to be honest with you, I still go back and forth between step 6 and step 5, even step 4 on occasion, because I'm still learning. I've never done this before. Step 6 is about joining. 2 people, different gifts, one vision, one purpose. When Usman and I came together to achieve a common goal, something happened. 2 people became the one. That's what I mean by the getaway car driver. No one person driving the other. The joining itself becomes the driver. Different gifts joining in a common purpose with agreed upon goal and plan to achieve it. Knowing where we're trying to go, what needs to be done, and bringing that vision closer to reality. Planting the seeds of transformation. This step highlights the creative power of relationships, making relationships our most valuable asset. And here's something else I've learned. You can't have too many for a project like this, and I need a lot of them. Yes, people participating in these conversations, sharing their stories, people commenting, exchanging ideas, people sharing the podcast with somebody who may need to hear it. Because the message doesn't spread through one person. It spreads through joining. So ask yourself, do you have a partnership like that? For the reality you want to create? And maybe the biggest question is, whose getaway car are you? Because we can't escape alone. It takes joining together in a common cause to the exclusion of separate interests to plant the seeds of transformation, which brings us to the destination, the final step in the escape plan. Step 7. Know your destination. Every escape plan, well, any escape needs a destination. Otherwise, you're only running away from something instead of moving towards something. And the destination here was never simply launching a podcast. It's a call to escape and reach a goal that seemed out of reach, and a plan to overcome whatever's holding me back and step into the reality that was being created. Creating a platform with a message that can help people improve the quality of their lives. How did you do following along? If these conversations help you recognize one trap, challenge one belief, or take one step towards freedom, making a choice that begins restoring the balance between your human and spiritual nature, then this podcast has already started doing what I hoped it would do. Leave me a comment and let me know. For me, I'm beginning to see some of those seeds sprouting. Likes, views, comments, subscriptions, and even a couple of people who wanted a more private conversation. Something is beginning to happen. And now, that announcement. I've walked you through the traps, but knowing they exist is only half the battle. You need the map to get out. I've developed this 7-step formula specifically to be an escape plan, a map to help you identify, navigate, and escape these emotional traps holding you back. You need the map to get out. I've developed this 7-step formula specifically to be an escape plan, a map to help you identify, navigate, and escape those emotional traps holding you back. I'm currently setting up a dedicated way for you to master this formula with me. For now, head over to my website and send the contact form in the enter your subject type formula. I'll make sure you're one of the first to get access when we go online, and a perk to go with it. I'll keep you updated. So, be a getaway car. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit the alert bell. Join the conversation. Let's escape together. Now next time, my very first guest, Tina Daniels, a former juvenile probation director. And here's a fun fact. Tina was one of my very first of 3 guests I was honored to have on my podcast weeks before the first episode ever launched. She'll share her story from traps to triumphs to become the woman she is today. I think you'll enjoy this conversation. So be sure to come back. You don't want to miss it, because it ain't easy being human. And you think it's supposed to be. It's a trap.
Life is a series of experiences connected by the choices we make, leading to the next experience. And that's what brought you here, to this moment, to choose your next experience. So choose wisely and don't fall for it. It could be a trap, because it ain't easy being human.